Covering this story for us is our foreign affairs commentator, Douglas Herbert. He's with me now. Doug, both the European Union and the United States are being careful not to directly accuse Russia here, but it is clear they think this is sabotage. Why are they so sure?
For a number of reasons, but you're right. The EU, NATO, the US, they're all essentially saying j'accuse. They're not naming names, they're not saying Russia, but they have quite a high level of conviction that Russia is up to foul play here. Well, why? We have a few things. A, the sheer coincidence that you would have three leaks, three explosions preceding leaks on two major pipelines right in the Baltic Sea, smack in the middle of the Baltic Sea off a small Danish island. Just a couple of days before, Norway was set to launch its own new so-called Baltic pipeline to deliver oil to Poland, Norway to Poland. This would be part of Poland's new strategy to diversify its way of getting energy and oil away from Russia. So they say the timing looks anything but coincidental. Plus those explosions, like I said, the holes, they haven't had a chance yet. The Danish and Swedes are investigating. They say it's really going to take, days, if not a week or more, to really get to the bottom of it, because right now they simply can't go down there. It's all too fresh and everything's still bubbling up to the surface. But they suspect that the explosions blew pretty large holes in a pipeline, not something that would have happened accidentally. You also had Norway in the days before this urging vigilance after the sightings of unidentified drones near its own oil and gas platforms. All of this seen as very convenient for Russia if it is seeking, as they believe it is, to further destabilize the energy situation in Europe.
Now, Doug, Europe was already bracing for Russia to possibly cut off gas supplies this winter. Yeah. What impact is these leaks going to have on that?
This specific, these leaks, you're right to use the plural, not that much. Why? Because yes, there was gas in all of these pipelines. There are two we're talking about, Nord Stream 1, Nord Stream 2. You'll remember Nord Stream 2 early in the war was shut off. One of the big major sanctions early in the war. Russia spent billions and billions developing it. It was shut down. It wasn't going to be delivering gas for a long time. Nord Stream 1 is something that Russia supposedly shut down on the pretext that it had to do maintenance of it. So it wasn't delivering gas. Gas was not being transported through either of these pipelines, even though gas has been released from them. So the actual energy equation with respect to these two pipelines hasn't been affected. Plus, as we know, Europe has been scrambling, even more than that, rushing, racing, whatever you want to say, to diversify its own energy supply, look for alternative sources, whether liquefied natural gas from the U.S. and Qatar and elsewhere, trying to bring in from other places. Norway, since the Russian invasion, has actually replaced Russia. It is now Europe's biggest supplier of this type of oil and gas. So we're looking for new sources in Europe, and the stocks, the inventories are being filled quite quickly. So this will not affect the immediate energy crisis, but it doesn't bode well for the future if similar incidents continue to occur.
Indeed, and Doug, there are fears that the European energy infrastructure could be vulnerable like this in the future as well.
This is the whole point here. A lot of experts say to you that this really marks, regardless of who's responsible, okay, this marks the beginning of a dangerous new phase for European energy security. Can Europe be united enough to protect its own, not just oil and gas pipeline infrastructure, but all of its critical infrastructure, whether we're talking about attacks from drones or attacks from underwater, from submarines, whatever it may be. Europe is right now in a very vulnerable position, and Norway, perhaps more than anyone else, is very aware of this, as is Denmark, as is Sweden. All of them are right now scrambling to try to very quickly step up their energy security game, which means better protections for infrastructure, and warning others in Europe to, look up above the parapet there and see what might be coming at them before it happens. So dangerous new phase, even if these immediate leaks are not going to pose and jeopardize immediately Europe's energy supplies.
Douglas Herbert, thanks very much indeed.